I'm quite the nerd in my friend group. So very nice meeting everyone, especially Mohammed. So how about let's have a run on our event where we could, talk more about the metaverse. So I'm Nathan Cheng here, and I do NFT and metaverse training and education for the mass public, where I've just finished a class with primary school students about 2 months ago. So I hope that the content will be very simple and it will be understood by the youngest of us all, and it will be easy to digest, and it will be easy to, to put it to use in your life. All right. So how about let's pass the mic to Leanne and see if she has any questions. Okay.
What you just described is exactly what I'm hoping you'll share. And add a few, I just wanted to invite you to, in addition to telling us about Metaverse and where we're actually going, I also invite you to tell us more about where you started. Where did you go and how did you get here now?
Oh yeah, that would be quite a story, to be honest. So actually, when I first started with, getting into the metaverse and all that, it was all because of my mother. So originally, I was a really, really, naughty kid when I was younger, and my family wouldn't really allow me to play games whatsoever and all that. So I was really, really into playing, games and all that, because when you ban your children from doing something, they'll be more interested in doing that thing. So for those who are parents, you know how to make your children to be interested in something. Just ban them from doing it, okay? Not too hard though. So I was trying to, get myself to learn more and get to know more about gaming and all that. So I was really lucky that I could get into a English university where I was studying computer game design. So I was literally licensed to play games full time, which was heaven for me. So I was trying to develop games that are interactive with music, because I was a big fan in, making things that are artistically and musically beautiful into things that are, interactive. Because I find that music is quite the one-way journey in broadcasting or streaming service company, because you only get to pick the music that you like and you listen to it, but you don't really get to, do much about it. So what I was trying to do and what I was interested to do was to introduce a service where people could interact with the music they like, or maybe possibly remix it with something that is, easy to access, and you don't need a lot of, technical knowledge or, all that experience and, being a DJ and all that. I just want to make things simple, because I'm a really lazy person, to be honest. So all I do and all I like to do is to make things simple, and to make things, easy to comprehend and lazy, so that people could be lazy and could be, enjoying the stuff that they enjoy without, too much effort and pressure. And that's, the one thing that I really look for. So if I am to put my strategy into a really nice and packaged sense, it would be that I'm a really efficient person. And if we are talking about the truth, is that I'm just really lazy. I just like things which are simple and, easy to control, and you do not need much experience doing about that. So that's what I was trying to achieve. And the second thing that got me into the NFT and metaverse world would be that I was, talking to an investor last year, where they are trying to do a simple startup about people who are doing, a flash sale market in Hong Kong. So for those who are, living outside of Hong Kong, you would be very similar or familiar with the idea of having a small market in a certain place. So it's like a flea market where you put your stuff and you share your own things, and maybe you'll be sharing your own stickers or maybe your craft work and all that. But for Hong Kong, it is a new trend that we've just started. And in Chinese, we're calling it 洗澡, okay? And in English, we're just calling it a market or something. We don't really have a English word for that. So it's literally just, flea market, but organized and, packed in a area of space where, Hong Kong is a really, really, really packed area or location, because we have much more people than we could actually capacitate. And during COVID, this kind of markets really popped up because people are having difficulties going out to other places and, getting to, entertain themselves. Going out and going to a trip is no longer an option. And that's why local markets and local events are growing a lot within the past 2 years. And what I was trying to do with that investor of mine was that we're trying to help young drawing people, or we're helping young illustrators, or people who are trying to make their drawing career a job, a full-time job, and they are selling their own stickers or maybe products or maybe other plushies and all that, and they are trying to make it a reality. But to be honest, in Hong Kong, not much people are buying a lot in those markets. They just usually go around and have a look and all that. And I would say drawing and illustration is not a really great career for artists here in Hong Kong. It will only be more like a hobby or a side business, but rather than a full-time job. So artists are struggling and having a hard time to survive what is going on in the whole economy, and they are just maybe having a few $100s of income within the markets that they are hosting, which is essentially their cost for hosting that market themselves. So what we're trying to do is that we are doing a NFT version of that market. We're doing a Web 3.0 version of that market, and we hope that by the means of NFT, they could have better control and better profit over their own drawings, and rather than printing stickers and doing all that hard work in the physical world, making their artwork in NFT would be much easier with less effort, and it is much more into the trend of NFTs and Web 3.0 and all that. And we would hope that they could have continuous income via the online 3.0 NFT market, that they could share and sell their own drawings and illustrations and all that and their ideas. But unfortunately, the project didn't really go well with the investor, and he thought that it was too risky and all that. And now that I could really, have my laugh on the investor that didn't invest on me, because he was losing out a lot during the whole NFT bloom over the past year and all that. And during that time, I was really learning a lot more than just drawing and all that. The applications of NFT and how community is a key part of making an NFT viable and valuable. So today we'll be talking a little bit more on how do we build a proper community? What is a community? What does a community do? Or maybe, hey, how does a community connect to what you're doing? All right. So that's a slight brief background on why did I go into the whole NFT business, and how did I get to start and do education for all that. And by the way, so just a simple advertisement for my company. So I am actually currently a director of Magnetar Asia, where we have 80 to 90 different trainers, including Randy, including Leanne, including Rebecca, and we're all doing professional corporate trainings for many different companies and backgrounds and all sorts of people. And that's where I started my NFT and Metaverse coaching business. All right. So people are interested, go to my website. Okay. And I can send it out via the Zoom link. So let's move on. All right. So so how about let's move on to the next question, Leanne, maybe? Yeah.
Sure, and feel free to share links. Share a link to Magnetar Asia, and if y'all are not connected on LinkedIn yet, everyone please feel free to put your LinkedIn profile in the.
Doing that right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for the introduction. Would anyone else like to build on that, ask some questions, share some thoughts?
Yeah, it's literally a ask me anything seminar. So literally anything at all, even something personal. I don't mind.
Well, I'm interested to hear how the community works. How do you build a community in the NFT environment?
Okay, so about community then. So essentially, I think that not every one of you understand what an NFT is, right? So maybe I'll just do a slight introduction, maybe, yeah? Or if you guys already know NFTs, how about let's put a 1 for those who really understand what NFTs are, and a 0 for people who does not understand it thoroughly or very well. Okay. Nice, hey? All right. So I see actually most of you understand what a NFT is. So I'll just not, prolong the whole thing and tell you things that you already know, okay? So about the community then. So I would say the value of a NFT comes from the validation of that community who is supporting that NFT. Because, how the NFT is working is because of the ledger and all that that's behind the blockchain technology and all that. And I would say that without a good community, a NFT would just be a JPEG or maybe something else that which it is uploaded. All right. So I would say that to build a strong and a very solid community, it is very key for people to know what they are trying to communicate. So I would do a very simple example of saying, hey, if you are a member of a fan club of a certain celebrity, okay? So I would say that in those kind of community, what would be most valuable? I would say that it is the validation that comes from that certain celebrity, right? Because you guys are like fan club. So I would say, what would be the most valuable resource in that fan club would essentially be that celebrity's event, right? So I would say if you are trying to build a fan club community, it is best that you know that, hey, when is that celebrity, doing certain kinds of events, or what is the joining requirement for that celebrities, upcoming other, plans, or places that he is going or she's going, and having information regarding to that to the fans of that celebrity is the key to a fan club, right? So I would say if we are to build a community, we would be better off that if we have a certain, target of the things that people are coming and they are joining for this community. We gotta know what they want, and we gotta know what the people is joining this community for. All right, and because that future that we are going, and the thing that we're trying to do in the future is that we would be essentially communicating with the community directly, and that we hope that we could be, uh, providing good utility to the community itself. And the fact that actually in the world of such information, and all those information is available via Google, it is very easy for us to search up things and knowledges and all that. And the barrier of us learning a new thing and getting to know something that is not in our previous scope is just a tap of a key. So I wouldn't say that knowledgeable people is not no longer valuable in the world right now. But what I'm trying to say is that learning a new thing is no longer a really difficult task or a very difficult process. It's just that how many time and how many effort you are putting into learning this new thing. So I would say that to be in a certain community is not about giving out information that people that they might already find out. It's about communicating the things or the core values that people are valuing for joining this community. And I would say for us to maintain a good community, it is key for us to find out that core value. Mm-hmm.
Nathan, I'm trying to understand this in concrete terms. So say there's 7 of us here, and
Yes.
let's say we wanted to start like a Nathan Cheng fan club NFT community.
Mm-hmm. I will be flattered.
So what would that require? What would that require, like in terms of like your end and on our end as the members, and how would that be different from our GBO enclave right here?
Okay, so say we are going to start a Web 3.0 community here about me. So I would say it wouldn't be a huge difference if GBO is running on Discord and they are having their own DAO and all that. I wouldn't say that it is fundamentally different. It is different in terms of what types or what kind of communication tools they're using, or what kind of communicating systems they are using within the group. So I see that GBO is using Noisy, and they're using WhatsApp, and they're using some sort of communication tools that is already been fluent within the business community. And I'm not saying that using Discord means that you are a Web 3.0 community. It's not that. It's that the culture of a Web 3.0 community usually would prefer Discord over other communication means. And they have a Twitter page where they give out informations, or maybe there are Instagram page where they give out visual details for their project. So I would say if people were to start a NFT community about me, we would need information about, hey, what is this community is trying to achieve? Oh, it is about people learning more about Nathan Cheng himself, or maybe people are trying to learn about what he is doing on the Metaverse world, or what events is Nathan Cheng hosting. It could be anything. But most importantly is that people would be able to, voice out what they want and what they would like to see about, Nathan Cheng and what they are trying to, achieve in this certain community. So I will do a simple comparison on how GBO is doing their own work, and how GBO might be able to transform into a Web 3.0 community where they could do their own, public voting and hosting and all that. And why is a DAO called a DAO is because they are decentralized and they are, autonomous, where they are voting in such ways that they don't need to be, personally verified. You don't have to know who they are, and votes are, are being hosted in a autonomous way, where they are just, simply voting for what they want without, hesitating to let other people know who they are, or maybe what their opinions are. They could vote in a more, free manner because of how their personalities or their, identities are hidden behind of, or I would say unexposed in the fashion of a DAO voting. So, and the fact that it is decentralized would be that people wouldn't be, going through a central organization where there might be censorship and all that might happen in a centralized organization. And I would say that if GBO is to be a Web 3.0 community, they would have a lot more voting on, who might or might not be hosting events, or maybe who will be their next leader, or maybe there will be no leader. Everyone is just, part of the whole GBO DAO. It could be many things, but the main point is that the whole GBO community, or say the Web 3.0 version of the GBO community, might still be the same. They might still be surrounding business opportunities that are around the globe, or they still might be, interested in networking and, communicating with other people. There might still be an event of Nathan Cheng talking about stuff that he know and he might expect in the metaverse. All right. So I think that's a simple, explanation of how a Web 3.0 community might be working if it was to be GBO. All right. And if it was to be a NFT about me, I think it might be me, just trying to have fun and, maybe hosting events and, online activities for people to join in and, trying to maybe I would say my NFT would be related to, I think, having fun or getting to know other people. You might earn tokens for sharing good jokes, or maybe you'll get tokens for sharing happiness and all that. I think that's what I would do if I were to start a Nathan Cheng NFT campaign. All right.
I have a questions, very beginner question.
Mm-hmm.
Is it okay to ask now?
Yeah, definitely.
Metaverse and NFT, what are the differences?
Okay, so a metaverse is essentially a location in the virtual world where you could, do something you like. So I'd say before the bloom of NFT and metaverse, there are already a lot of different metaverses that has, came up before all this Web 3.0 buzz and all that. I would say in the gaming industry, we are building virtual worlds and building virtual communities and areas and locations for a lot of people. And one really famous example recently would be Animal Crossing. So Animal Crossing is a essentially a architecture, a building game where people are building very cute architects and building very cute buildings for animals, which are having difficulties in settling down and having their own housing. So it's essentially a game where you build building for animals and hope that they will live a happy life within the building that you've just built. And so I would say within the topic of a metaverse could be a you know, a location or a space where you could do stuff in a virtual world, and it doesn't really have to relate to the Web 3.0 environment or blockchain or all that. It could be many things. And what is a NFT? A NFT is more or less like a receipt where you prove that the thing that you have just purchased belongs to you. So it's essentially a ledger-based technology where it is a token to be put on a ledger where a transaction has happened in between you and somebody else, and that token now belongs to you or the owner of the current NFT buyer and all that. So NFT is like a receipt or a verification where you own something in the virtual world, and the metaverse is the world itself.
Okay, thank you. It's I understand now. Metaverse, it is like the big umbrella, and the NFT, for example, selling the land, architect for the animal is the sub umbrella of the metaverse. If I using this kind of logical thinking, is it?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, I understand more. Thank you, Nathan.
Okay, that's nice.
And also, I see so many software in the market, like Sandbox, like Ocean Sea, like so many. So this is like whoever would like to develop the software, they can develop and call it. It is Metaverse. Is that right?
Sorry, can you go for that again?
Okay. For example, and nowadays I see people, the artists, sell the pictures or sell the architect or sell the land, and like for example, our Metaverse is our label and the monkey. So all this is just this is an NFT, right? Or under the umbrella of a metaverse?
I would say that we are trying to build our own metaverse academy where, so just a simple explanation, because me and, Rebecca and Randy, we're in an association called Manetta Asia, and we're doing a NFT project where it is called Episverse, where it is taken from the word epistemology, where it is about the philosophy behind learning. Okay, and we hope that we could do a learn to earn community where people are learning new stuff and they're earning things that they of their liking, and essentially it is a NFT project of us, allowing people to learn more and join a community of professional trainers. And yes, Rebecca, we are doing a NFT within our own capacity where we are trying to allow people to come into our community and learn more and, maybe do some profit sharing if this NFT project goes well.
Okay, thank you very much. Very good.
Thank you. So anyone has, okay, TJ.
Nathan, what do you think about the economical value of NFT, that what people are jumping into? What can you say to this group right now?
So I would say that actually it is quite sad for me to see that Hong Kong people are usually seeing or viewing NFT as more or less like a, how would I put it, a investment tool rather than, what it is originally. So Hong Kong people are usually, seeing things in a value where they are only valuing it in a very short period of time, if NFTs are earning them, maybe thousands of dollars in a few days, they would like it. If the NFT is not earning money for them, they wouldn't like it. It's more or less like a economical tool for them to earn more income and all that. And I would not like that to be a climate or affect that things where things are going. I would say that for the time being right now, the whole climate in Hong Kong shows that people are feeling or thinking that NFTs is just another way of investment and just another direction of just people trying to do a a means of liquidizing their own projects and just getting hard-earned cash and all that. It is what Hong Kong people are thinking right now. But I would say that for what I'm thinking for NFTs in the future, I would say that it is a big trend of what is going on and what will be going on, because essentially everything is now virtualizing. Meetings are virtualizing, entertainment is virtualizing, and maybe even in this far future, food are virtualizing too. So what essentially NFT does is validating stuff that are being transacted, and there are transactions behind stuff that is being traded. And in such sense, I would say that it is the world is now mostly capitalistic, and having a sense of ownership is very important to the capitalistic ideology, where everything must be owned by someone. And I would say anything could be an NFT, and anything would need a sense of ownership. And I would say that in a very soon future, most things and most transactions will be handled in a NFT style of manner. I would say that's what I thought.
What about those crazy valuations of NFTs, like those apes around on the internet?
Mm-hmm.
What can you say about people putting $100, $200, $300,000 just to get one NFT of this? Why do you think they're doing it?
Yeah, those are also true though. So I would say those are really more or less a showcase of wealth, where celebrities or maybe famous politicians or people who are just trying to be part of a really say forward fashioned community. They try to show themselves where they're capable of joining. Oh, it is a huge project. I have a ownership over this ape. I have ownership over this anime character. I would say it is not a very healthy habit to keep, to be honest, because from what I'm seeing from the roadmap of big I would say blue NFT markets, where Moonbirds and Yoga Labs and Boarded Yacht Club and Asuki, I don't see much they are trying to do with how their community is coming together and what is that behind where their community is trying to do. As I would say that they don't really have a clear direction of where they're going. And people putting, huge amount of money into buying one single NFT and putting a huge amount of money, just trying to bid over and, trying to use it as a logo or maybe a figure of, of their own brand. It would be one of the ways that they could use it. But I would say in the future, it wouldn't be a sustainable trend that people are still gonna put so much money into investing into those NFTs, because it is not really contributing much outside of the fame or the branding that they are bringing. And one day, if the fashion or the brand is or the trend is changed, it wouldn't have the same value where they are putting their money into that whole situation or the NFT project.
Well, what about putting it into this perspective? Because you mentioned earlier, it depends on the community behind the NFT, right?
Yes, exactly.
For example, Snoop Dogg bought the ape, and I know it has a private Discord channel that only ape holders have. So, and if there is like a minimum requirement of, let's say, $300,000 just to get a copy or just to get one NFT of that ape or one of those collections, then you're basically qualifying already. All the people that came in there have enough net worth that if you wanted to expand your business or you want to expand your professional network, you know who you're on league with. And at the same time, you have now the opportunity to, instead of like, you know, it's impossible to chat with Snoop Dogg. Now you could just hit him up like, yo, we're like high school buddies or something. Right. Yeah. So now you've leveled that kind of playing field. But again, you paid your way into it. And I know this has been happening even, you know, ever since even democracy was created. That's what the kings and queens and the monarchs and the nobles are doing back in the day. So I think there's another usage also for NFT that we found out, like where if you have a certain NFT, you could get discounts from different entities. For example, if you have a Marriott NFT and then you visit in a Marriott, you could use their whatever facility you want only once a year for free of charge. And then everything else you could get like 20% discount. I even know, even before NFT, there's something similar here in the Philippines with Dusit Fanning. It's a 5-star hotel. What they do is, if it's your birthday and you check in there, depending on your age, let's say you're 30 years old, they give you 30% discount. So they have these crazy schemes and utilities behind these memberships. I even sometimes think NFT is just another word for membership if there's really a cool or very strong community behind it. But again, not all NFTs are created equal, because there are random NFTs out there that are just, you know, just floating around, nobody bothers. So
yeah,
that's another perspective to probably explore.
So I would say that of course many, you know, famous NFT or many you know, big name NFTs, or shall we say you know, blue NFTs are essentially memberships for people who are really famous and, you know, or maybe they have such net worth and all that. I would say it is not a really healthy trend, because it has, as TJs have just mentioned, it has been there since, you know, long ago, where monarchy was there, and if you have certain kind of you know, things that you own, where it is more or less like a showcase of what you own and what you have, which is just you know, web 0.0 stuff. It's just web 0 stuff. So I wouldn't say that it would die off really quickly, but I would say that it is not a sustainable trend where it is only a proof of stuff that you own, or your net worth, or you're just trying to get into a community where you're trying to collab with really famous celebrities and all that. So I would say that as a example of how you can utilize NFTs and Metaverse better, we could tell you a little bit more about what our efficient NFT project is going on, where we're trying to, you know, integrate training and, you know, community into a NFT where people could join in and, you know, come and try our training out, and, you know, come chat with our trainers and all that. And plus, you could be a student and you could, you know, find out more about what you are trying to do in your future, and maybe there are personality tests and all that. And we are just trying to let people know how NFT could be could be used, other than, you know, selling it for a certain price or a certain membership. And we'd like it to be more grounded and be more realistic, where people would just really connect to it, but not spending huge money on it and all that. For example, I've just talked to a logistic company where they could put NFTs on their cargo, where it would be also stored on the ledger behind a blockchain community, a blockchain network. Okay, so they could be tracing the transaction in between where their cargoes are going, or maybe how their products are going into certain places, and how is the status of their own deliveries and all that. And that NFT really essentially logs all the transaction, or all that's going on with their cargo, and with their own transportation and all that. And it is a really nice change of pace, where it is not only a membership, but also a way to utilize NFT in a way where the traditional Web 3.0 community is trying to just use it as a more or less a membership, but it is more a ledger kind of stuff in that logistic company. All right, welcome, Michael. Just see Michael came in here.
Can I say something, please?
Yeah, definitely.
I know that Senior Michael has given a webinar on the 22nd of June, and I did not have the chance to participate in that webinar. And so would it be possible that Mr. Michael could give us like a resume or an abstract about his vision, and are you working together in some projects?
Mm-hmm. You there, Michael?
In the meantime, that event is recorded, Mohammed. So I'll find the link and put it in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be great too.
Yeah, that would be great, because I missed that talk too. Thank you. Yeah.
Popular.
Also,
I just saw the chat room in the Zoom, and I was just wondering, why is TJ a villain now?
Say what? Can you say it again?
Why are you a villain in your industry now? I'm really interested in that.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't really like Cambridge Analytica because of they're saying they helped Trump win the elections. So yeah, there's that, and there's a lot of more stories. Like, a lot of my CTO friends have been schooling me about it. Like, why did I join them or anything? In the first place, I can't really choose my colleagues because they only get revealed to you once you get in or you get hired with someone. And yeah, it's really a matter of there's a job and it has to be done, but as long as it doesn't really conflict with your values and morality. And so far, they haven't really done anything horrible in my book. So with the current project that I have, so I'm okay with it at the moment.
Okay.
But I always joke to Leanne that I'm probably gonna become a super villain one day.
Oh, really?
So,
how so?
yeah. That's not funny. Everyone has a feeling.
Sorry, it was lagging.
Oh no, I'm just saying, like, I just in the future I have a feeling I might become a super villain if I get so bored or something. So that's just it.
Well, speaking of supervillains, like every step of technological progress has a potential for social benefit, as well as the Darth Vader side, right? Like it's right. It's the Force. How do you use it? Right. So what I'm hearing from the conversation you were having is that, you know, there's a real risk. There's a real risk that something like NFTs, you know, can be a mechanism for more disparities, like more, you know, like something that separates people who have and have
True.
not, or make
Mhm.
communities exclusive versus non-exclusive. And then there's other uses where people can partake in ways that are intended to be more equitable and beneficial for a greater number of people. So, like, if you're going toward the latter case, like, what are the entry points? You know, what are the entry points, and how do you, I guess, what structures are needed so that, you know, this kind of tool is used the way it's intended to be used.
Okay, so as usual, as every product has its own difficulties, actually, we have to really get a good balance on where, you know, our NFT is valued or not, and if our services are going well within the community. So say if we are a group of people who want to provide very nice, you know, corporate training services, say with Meta Asia, if we are charging people in such ways where it is making only certain people, certain rich people could only join our training, it would diversify. It would it would undiversify the people who are able to attend our training, right? And if our training is really effective and, you know, helping people grow, and it would really it would really make the elites in the society a lot more elite, and, you know, make normal people much more normal. So we wouldn't want that, right? So what we're trying to do is what we're trying to achieve, or what are the entry points, or what are we really cautious about, you know, building a community, is that we really need to know how much, or how are we balancing the value of our NFT, and how much cost are we putting into the whole operation. So say if we're doing a really nice training, we're doing really nice, you know, beneficial opportunities for other people. And if we're doing it for free, we will starve to death because we don't have enough money for operation. But if we're doing in a price where it is too high, just like how TJ has mentioned, people are spending thousands and millions on just, you know, getting into a certain community, it would more or less just be just another way of people, you know, creating monarchy and creating hierarchical, you know, difficulties for other peoples to join in what could be or could have been what they could join. And I would say I wouldn't want that. And to keep that balance of, you know, having enough cost for us to continue running our community, and charging you know, a fair price where people who are willing to be eligible to join in our community, is a really big challenge.
Yeah, I'm wondering that, like, it seems like the community is dynamic, right?
Yeah.
The value of whatever it is, whatever that core value,
whatever that NFT is.
Yeah, that value is dynamic, and so is the size of the community. So I'm hearing that, you know, there needs to be somehow some careful checks and balances for that value to be distributed in some way that's fair.
Yes, very true. So
I have a question, if you may.
Yeah, definitely.
Through what I have read in the resume about you, Nathan, is that you introduce yourself in this universe of metaverse early enough to be really having such a complete idea about the actors or the, you know, the people or the new research which is done in this field, like in computer games, for instance. And my question is, if I take myself within my background, I come to this new phase after seeing the 2.0 and how the internet has evolved to be hosting structures like Google Earth, Google Maps, and people could fly from one place to the other, make some publicities to do something. Now we are moving with the 3.0 into a new level where everything could be not only put into an NFT value, but it has the potential to be created as a space, as a specific space. So I found myself with an incredible capital of writing, which is writings of a visionary. And this writing now has the proof of concept from different aspects. It's like a spectrum. From wherever you open it, you find out that there are solutions. So what I'm proposing through what I'm writing now is to create, to visualize, to showcase different stratospheres of virtual space, which could be connected enough, with enough aesthetics, with enough energy and attraction. So when someone sees that, he would see it like a landscape, and this landscape would invite him to enter into a specific spot within that landscape. So I wrote a concept global enough to be the new Google Earth, built upon infinite geometrical architectural structures that are inspired by nature, but that could be open enough to be like a democratized palace or a nice house, but put in a specific GPS space, a position where everybody who would like to go into that space, like in the ocean land, or he could have the possibility to go into that specific place, and that specific place has already the beauty and the attraction, like when you see a sunset and you would like to add more moments looking into that sunset. But it's like a place where every one of those millions of 3.0 metaverse users would have already their birthright of specific space, which is beautifully made, like a tree or a flower is already made. It comes to be already well. So I do have now a global mega structure describing all of that. And you can consider it as someone who has written 10 books, and every book is applied to a specific field to showcase the potential. So my question to you is, do you have the tools or the connections to bring that into a second level of finance in order to find the right business angels who could put that into a first proof of concept, which is already made intellectually through the different algorithms, to be pushed into, like being the next visualized aesthetic Google Maps?
Oh, okay. So I have a lot of new information rushing in, and I would say that if you really had, that much of publications and information about what you're trying to do, and the whole world is being literated into different books, I would say that it is a very interesting idea, and it could be given to different investors and see if they are interested in realizing this whole thing. And I wouldn't say that I definitely have that connection to make it a reality, but I would say that I am very interested in trying. So yeah.
So
But
we will have the possibility, and we could schedule a moment where we could go deeply into some details.
yeah, I think we would be better off with projecting or trying to tell other people about what we're trying to do in a visual way, and it will be a lot easier for you to communicate with people who doesn't know what you do or what you're trying to do or what your field is. We gotta make it simple, make it lazy.
Exactly.
So that people could understand it all the way from layman to investors and specialists and all that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm looking for now, is to create the right partnership in order to build or to fabricate a 2 or 3 minutes show reel, which is already written, and this show reel will be clear enough to be the investment asset that would be brought to this table of business engines. It's a matter now of not trying out. Everything is written, even the scenario or the synopsis of this 2 minutes show reel is written. And so the idea is to see how it would be possible to partnership with a company or with some structures that could bring that into vision of different steps. The first step is to realize first this show reel, which would be navigate through another level of business angel looking for finance.
Mohammed, you know what's interesting about NFTs and geometry? I used to live in Saudi Arabia, and Muslims in general are very good with geometry. I think they had a golden era of knowledge when it comes to mathematics at one point. They really have advanced geometrical figures, the Fibonacci, and all the understanding of our world as we know today. What would be cool is this kind of knowledge is very rare for people to specialize in and know. I've done an NFT collection for a client commission. They have a base figure and then they create a collection out of it, and then they sold it to OpenSea. I was curious, what's keeping you from sharing all of these knowledge at the same time? Like what Nathan said, you deserve to be paid for this knowledge to teach other people. Why don't you make an NFT collection about the geometry that you learned throughout the years? And I'm pretty sure the geeky ones will buy into the geometry stuff, because if you put a story behind it, that would be interesting.
Yeah, what I would like to answer is that instead of saying that what I would like propose is like a poem or a knowledge or like a paragraph or a book as an NFT, like this book would be comprised of different rooms, and every room is a 3D, and in every room there will be like different artworks already made through this knowledge. But I'm going a step further, which is to create the grammar of a new visual language. And this new visual language is a holistic language, which is for right now seen only by different groups of scientists, but seen in a little drop of a puzzle. And so every scientific laboratory is just seeing part of that clarity or that transparency of the global vision. And so instead of looking into creating like an output of those idea or this vision, what I'm trying to see now is how I could bring the potential to bring different angel, business angel groups to create this new language. And this new language is already something, it's like different clouds that are on different spots surrounding Earth, whether research and development laboratory or different universities. And the idea is to bring all those clouds of intelligence into a global umbrella network, which is like the brain of the Earth.
Yeah,
So I do
Mohammed,
have a lot of, I'm quite advanced in all this. And you could imagine it like, as I said before, it's like a book which is already written. What it needs, it's like a company like in Hollywood to make a movie out of it. And once the movie is made out of it, you go into a higher level of business angels who would say, not only are we going to make a movie out of it, but we're going to make the next Google Earth virtual space where everyone could have his own democratized space to showcase the different identities of product that he has. It's to make order in this new, jungle field, because it seems like Metaverse, it's created from a conjuncture of different stuff. And among them is Walt Disney. Among them is the cinema of Hollywood. Among them is, the search and look of the 20th century. And it has given a lot of different directions, far away from some global unity where when you see art or when you see the direction of your life, so wow, I'm living in a beautiful planet and I can do that and that. So what I'm saying is that there is a new frontier where different knowledges are connected to each other. And it's possible now to create a visual language of where we are living as if we are a cell within our brain. Every one of us is like a perfect image of the planet itself, or a cell by itself, or an atom. But we are a constellation. Every one of us is an incredible constellation of different levels of knowledge. In order to make some order out of that, we need almost to start from a scratch, which already exists in different clouds of knowledge in different parts, whether universities, whether tangible or intangible knowledge. So, but I organize it enough throughout so many years that it's ready to be put as, something, to gain the necessary steps in order not to lose time, because the book is written, or the books are written in order to be showcased and applied.
Mohammed, if I can participate in your discourse, I'm thinking about concrete examples of, when you say, the grammar of geometry, what would the building blocks be? So for example, I'm thinking about, some of the rules that actually nature follows, like the golden ratio, or whatever rules that lead to the number of petals in a flower, or lead to the proportions of, the inner ring, the outer ring of trees, or as the spiral of a snail shell grows. So these kinds of natural rules, or maybe other natural rules like Pythagoras theorem, like a squared b squared always equal to c squared, always, no matter how big your triangle is. So, and we have all the formulas that describe areas and volumes of shapes, cones. So in this way, I'm picturing like there's an abstract system, right? Because all these things are described by formulas, but they have tangible physical implications that we visualize. So I'm just wondering if this is kind of the concept that somehow exists in the physical world and is not yet as developed or as ordered in the metaverse or Web 3.0 world.
Exactly, exactly. It has been created by different levels of nature, different levels of living phenomena or epiphenomena since millions of years, you know, like, so we do have the blueprints in different sciences, you know, like the tree of evolution and how Darwin did explain something, you know, throughout this tree of evolution, you can understand really some 3D blueprint of how a turtle has been, you know, it created itself by evolution from some other animals. And so throughout this space-time continuum, you could see through geometry, you could see through biological evolution, how patterns were in some kind of different ramification, depending on, let's say, you know, the tree of life, or how the arborescence goes, you know, from the first amphibia to start walking on the earth. But all that could be compressed into some beautiful, beautiful laws of algorithms and genetic code that already exists. So the idea now is to start educating ourselves to see it on a global scale, and on a global scale that it's reflected in our own structure as human beings. We are, at the same time, we are quarks, we are atoms, we are cells, we are molecules, we are organs, we are organisms at the same time. And so all that is building something so huge, which is the human being, you know. But it's not only philosophy, it's applied. I mean, applied sciences today, and as Nathan is saying, we are gods in the metaverse. Of course we are, exactly.
You're
So,
seeing the chat too.
and of course we are ants if we have the consciousness of ants as gods, you know, because the ants know what they do, and they live under some kind of tribe, you know, ecosystem laws, and when they follow those laws, they sustain life in specific, you know, ecosystems. But anyway, what is interesting about the metaverse is we're going to be pushed into whether losing our, you know, the examples of many people doing their things, or to dive into holistic knowledge, or to dive into how holistic knowledge can be, you know, re-synthesized into applied knowledge, but on a higher scale. And I spent so many years just, you know, seeing how to make life enjoyable while looking into this spectrum as philosophy, but also as informed energy and consciousness within. And when I say within, is within the different strata of matter. You know, an atom, when it's split to become, you know, to share some electrons with one other atom, that information about the two atoms that have become another molecule is already like a network of information entangled enough, which is written in any other atom which are in different surroundings of that molecule. So it's a huge, but at the same time, simple enough, because we are looking into it from the birth of the 21st century. We're not looking at it a century ago. So my question again is to Nathan, and maybe to Mr. Michael and to you also, Liane, whether we could come out from this meeting into connecting the dots among ourselves to see, because I'm in a stage where what I need really is the outgrow of this vision into a 2-minute proof of concept, a 2-minute show reel. And the show reel will be like looking to the Earth from the moon, as it happened 50 years ago by the first astronaut.
That was 50 years ago.
You know, like 50 years ago, when Armstrong looked at the Earth from the moon, it changed his consciousness. You know, he came back to life as a different person. And what I'm saying now is that we are at a new frontier, and we have a puzzle of knowledge which is hosted in different academies, in different ecosystems of knowledge, different educational laboratories, and that has to be reshaped again into this new holistic vision. But I see it that something that can go very, grow very fast if behind there is the blockchain of how this project could grow into the best way regarding its own authorship, regarding all the benefits that could grow from this. So it has to come out once again through mastering all the laws of economics to let it. But we have blockchains, and we have now the NFT to make those creativity level, those monetization level, as infinite as what we are being creating as space. So anyway.
Yeah, can I connect this with something in Nathan's realm, which is, well, first of all, the description of natural order, like the natural order does, in a way, like lower the amount of energy that it takes to do anything, right? That's one reason that we have these patterns, that we have these natural codes, why we have genetic codes for trees and genetic codes for people and genetic codes for ants, right? So, as wonky as our natural, as our geometric vocabulary systems discussion may be now, I think, ultimately it's meant to make creation and innovation more efficient and lazier, so we can all be lazier because there's already these rules
exactly
that are in place, and
exactly.
that you make one move and then these other dominoes fall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you could imagine, yeah, exactly. I agree totally with you, Liane. And please continue your thought.
Thanks. So I'm wondering, because Nathan comes from a game design world, so I'm wondering, like, is there that kind of like system in place in game design?
Essentially, there was that guy who was called Conway, who really tried to simulate life itself within a system where a random number of blocks and squared would be deduced or liberated or created, and it would react to a certain kind of rules. Okay, so it's called a Conway game of life, where it is there are rules that which it would create blocks in a certain way where it would go into a pattern or a repetition of patterns and say a little bit more creatures that are creeping around in a certain way. So it is very interesting to see people creating rules and you know, a whole system of things or even life within the digital world. But I would say what Muhammad is currently trying to create is way far beyond my scope, to be honest, because I'm just doing, you know, layman and primary school student education and all that. But, you know, simulating and create a whole new, you know, grammar for geometry and visualization and all that's in, you know, what you can see is something that I never thought about, to be honest. I was just, you know, chilling there, being lazy and you know, making lazy people live their best life.
So what are those primary school kids gonna do without everything they learned from you?
Yeah.
You know, they're gonna in 5 years, they're not primary school kids anymore.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
literally what I see Mohammed is trying to achieve is that he is creating a whole new order or a rule for, you know, whatever that is created in the metaverse to follow, which itself is a metaverse on its own, because it has its own rules and it has its own you know, geometry and you know, ratio and all that's in it. And I would say it is very academic in the sense of metaverse and all that, to be in a metaverse where you are trying to create a whole new you know, a whole new order of stuff that they are you know, functioning, which is a really huge idea, because it's literally just humans playing the god within that metaverse of what's going on from my understanding.
Can you think of
Yeah,
it as a
it's,
wireframe?
sorry.
Oh, it is so much more of a wireframe, because, you know, it is how you build. It is the rules or the instructions for you to build the wireframe, right, Mohammed? Am I getting
Exactly.
it wrong? So yeah, so I would say using the word wireframe is downgrading it to a visual sense where you could understand it. But if we're to put it into a, you know, accurate sense of linguistic communication, it is
Yeah,
the
exactly.
instruction of how you know, create that wireframe for the whole world, for even, you know,
Exactly.
genetics and all that, which is quite crazy for me.
I mean, if we understand wireframe as like one level where computer imagery find out the way to create virtual puppets or virtual, you know, actors in a movie or something, and wireframe was just, you know, the way to control, you know, the kinetics of a body or of a hand, something. But now we moved into 3.0, the 3D internet, and we have programs like GPT-3 by OpenAI. And, you know, when you imagine that someone like Elon Musk in 25 years, he has been able to create 5 or 6 breakthroughs in space exploration, in cars, in you know, under earth subways and all that. You can understand, I mean, it gives us the potential to say that all those things, without the technologies of the birth of the 21st century, it could not be possible. Elon Musk could not think about 42,000 satellites that would be surrounding Earth, you know, and he's doing it, and he's in his 40s. So what I'm saying, and just to come back to the idea that we are beyond the wireframe, if we can understand that instead of seeing the wireframe, we could see like rainbows of light, of energy that compose everything. But seeing it from the holiness, seeing it in the connections that we understand about this wireframe. So yeah, I think it's a new era, but that's why my question was very precise to Nathan about how maybe to build some bridges toward groups of business angels. It's like when the two people who created Google, they really felt at some point that going to business angels with the ideas that Google Earth will let some space for publicity. You know, so if you are moving in Italy and in one city in Italy, you're going to see such a publicity of someone, and that money start to bring money for the business angels in order to create Google Earth. So now we have to, you know, step in the next few years to find out what is the monetization process that would bring enough money to anybody who will invest in that. But after that, if that is achieved, it's going to be wealth for everyone, because everything is going to be NFT. You know, you look into an image, you look into one leaf of a branch of a tree, and it's already an NFT. You go, you zoom into it, and it's already a matrix of different cells, and it's another NFT. You move more closely into it, and it's vibrating energy of different atoms. It's another NFT level. So what I am saying is that the backdrop or the monetization, you know, background of that is just infinite. It has to land into the right hands of people who could say, okay, this year I'm going to be putting $10 million in order to have 20 programmers in genetics, 20 programmers in artificial intelligence, artists, anthropologists, you know, professors, philosophers. And once those brains are joined together to work under one research and development project, in 2 years is going to be the next Google, you know, in less than 2 years. So that's why I'm saying it's ready. I mean, I hope we could have you know, I mean, what we are saying today is just having some new first vibrations of thoughts. Mm-hmm. And so we will come back to that, and a lot has been built. I mean, I'm talking about something that took me like 40 years, not only to understand, but to enjoy, mostly, to live it, to be it, you know, so.
Yeah, the thing about laziness is that you gotta understand it to become lazy. And now I have to work hard to understand it.
Yeah, but then you're gonna have the possibility to you know, to give the proof of concept about laziness, which will be the birthright of every citizen of this whole earth, you know, because we are born already wealthy, you know, from our birth. We are, you know, when you imagine the number of cells that takes decisions in our neurons, that's laziness from ourselves as, you know, commandant in chief in this physical body. Yeah. We have billions of cells making decisions, you know, and, you know, so that laziness, what you are talking about is really the philosophy of the East, but taken in its silent, great knowledge, which is just, you know, the knowledge of silence, and, you know, it's the Tao, you know, or the Anyway, so we will, I mean, everything what we are discussing today will reach into its own vibration in different spots of everybody who is in this webinar, and some other extensions of whether connections, human resources, or some ideas would come from that in order to collaborate.
All right. So well, yeah.
I think this is
Never thought
really
that I would have such insights and inputs today. And yeah, thank you for Muhammad's sharing.
Thanks to you, and thanks to Lion and everybody, and I think GBO in itself as an international digital but also physical organization is really the right tool, the right ecosystem to build up such a network of different specialists in different fields.
Yeah, and to bring us together for the, for the first time, this combination of people, and we can have a discussion, this deep and concrete and abstract at the same time.
Yeah. Both
And
hardworking and lazy.
Yeah, my mind does not feel lazy right now.
Yeah.
I think we need like a decentralized ledger for the chat as well. That is also an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Any other questions or maybe things that Pei may be interested maybe?
Well, I'm just curious, when you teach primary school students about NFT and Metaverse, what do you teach them in reality? Because I imagine that primary school students today, they are all playing games, so they all have a certain form of behavior of Metaverse, but maybe they don't actually realize that it's called Metaverse. So
yeah, very true.
So when you're teaching them, what do you actually teach them, and what is the objective? Is for them to be more technology knowledgeable in the future, or it's just for them to understand more what they are doing currently? So yeah, just curious.
So about that, actually, I would say that because me myself, I went through the whole Hong Kong education process, and it's more or less just examinations and credentials and all that, which doesn't really make sense when you go to work, right? So what we would really like to let our students have is that knowing what they do and knowing what value in what they do. So what we essentially teach them is that, hey, what that game that you're playing, you could earn money playing that, but you gotta know, what is going on with that game, what is inside of that game, what is to be, worthy. Why is it worthy, or what technology is behind that tech? But of course, we won't be going into hey, how does a blockchain work? How is a ledger? What does ledger work? And what's ERC20? We won't go through all that technical information. But to give them a perspective on, hey, what's that's going on in the game that you're playing and what it could possibly be. Say they might be able to be a sandbox architecture later when they grow up. We tell them that. We tell them, hey, what is a NFT and what is behind the worth and the value of an NFT? Why does a community dictates the value of an NFT? We tell them that most of the time. So, and we do a little bit, not a lot, of hands-on experience of them creating their own NFT project and creating their own presentation deck, a simple 5 to 8 pages of PowerPoint presentation, where they are targeting a certain community with a certain aesthetics on their own NFTs and all that. So that concludes the whole, 16 class course. So it's about 20 hours in and out.
Interesting.
And it's customizable, so anything could happen.
Right.
Hey,
Sure,
Nathan, how much do you usually charge the parents? Because I'm pretty sure the kids are not paying for this.
Oh, we're charging the school, and we're charging about 20K Hong Kong dollars.
For the whole
okay.
class.
For
Yeah,
school,
for the whole
for
thing.
school.
For the whole thing.
Yeah, for the whole
it's
thing.
so it's like do you give them like the school gets a curriculum? Is
Oh,
$20,000. That's like how
it's a
Phoenix would charge the
holiday
schools for the books.
thingy. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Because you know how most like publishers like Phoenix would just distribute books to the schools and provide a curriculum. So you're basically
no, I don't
doing
do that. I'm not that high up yet. I wish I was.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah,
we'll get there. We'll get
gradually.
Yeah. Interesting.
So
Yeah,
we do adult educations too, which is around 3,000 Hong Kong dollars per head for about 12 hours, and we have 6 classes, and we teach them what NFTs are, what cryptocurrency is, how do you trade cryptocurrency, how do you buy NFTs, how do you make your own NFT, how do you build your own community, how to be marketing about your own NFT. And we do not we do not guarantee success, but we give you the right tools that you could try things out and give it a try and all that.
Yeah, it is an education program. So yeah. Interesting. Yeah, because I personally think that education system today, I mean, it's not only in Asia, in Europe, apart from Scandinavian country, the continental European school system is still very academical and very dinosaur, if I can put it that way. So we don't really create individuals who can think by themselves and looking for information and then create something, but we still force them to repeat what an older person is telling them, right?
Yeah.
So it's not really what kind of world we are going into. So I think the education side is really lacking for the moment. So I'm kind of worried for the kids of my sister. Because they are not really learning. Well, they're not learning things that they should learn, but and they spend a lot of time at school, but it's all like waste of time because they're just stuffed their head with old stuff. But
yeah,
so interesting.
It is very hard for educators to make a good balance of discipline and learning, like seriously learning, like truly learning, but not memorizing and all that. It is I would say that Asian people are not very good at making their kids understand the value of what they're learning. They're just forcing them to learn.
Yeah, it has never been the objective. The objective is that you should learn to obey and follow and repeat. And then when you get into
they're learning
the
in
job,
a conditioning way rather than giving them motivation and what is the importance in the things that you're learning and how could you use it. So,
in a very controlling way, I would say. So I think if we come back to the subject of today, which is Metaverse, which is actually the opposite of what we're doing now. Right, because Metaverse ultimately it's a world that is decentralized, and the user, the community is deciding things, and no one is forcing you to follow the rules. But the community
there are no rules essentially.
Yeah, so I think if we continue to teach kids to repeat and follow and to be obeyed, how can you create a ultimate democratic and decentralized world? It's going to the opposite direction in my but anyway.
But of course, I understand why people are, fearing the future going to a, total, democratic kind of way. And there might be chaos, to be honest, but well, we'll see how it goes. And I'm just a teacher,
Yeah,
Leanne is so lucky. Yeah, Leanne is so lucky because her parents will listen to her now because she's a doctor. Asian parents.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm just messing with you, Leanne. Because they said earlier, like,
we didn't understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I didn't catch what you said.
Okay, so you know how they said like Asian kids, they're just weak out how to obey their parents and everything. So Leanne is so lucky because now she can have conversations with her parents. Because she's a doctor now. That's what Asian parents want to do. Be a doctor now. You can have conversations with them.
All right.
No, I'm just messing with you, Leanne. No, but I think also what's interesting about this conversation is really about the metaverse, where they're not really supposed to get the value that they're supposed to be learning. I think, I'm not sure if you heard of this game called Axie Infinity. It became so huge in the Philippines that
I saw that there was like 80% of Axie Infinity's users are in Philippines, and I was like, wow.
Right. And these guys were earning like almost $1,000 per month, which is higher than the minimum wage.
Yeah, just playing games.
Just playing a game. So a lot of people would just buy a phone and play the game the whole day, and they're earning this. It's called play to earn game, and I see it like this is crazy. Like, why would people pay you to play, unless if it's a competitive sport or tournament? Aside from the entertainment, it hit me. If Axie is a form of metaverse, and the metaverse has a real estate where, like when you're playing a game, there's a billboard. What if the billboard doesn't just display a made up brand? What if an actual brand like Coke would be now advertising on those billboards? But that's where the real value is. And the only way for you to advertise on a billboard, you got to get those tokens or crypto tokens to be able to advertise there.
We're exactly doing that in Hong Kong right now, which the project is called X Moment. Where we are trying to create certain moments in your life, and it's an X is an unknown, and you could create a happy moment. You could create a romantic moment in a certain place, and that place would be linked to an NFT.
Yeah, I think that's crazy, but the craziest that I've seen so far in the crypto space, I think it's called Sexin, where they encourage people to have sex and it turns into an NFT.
That.
I think that is fucking out of this world. It's crazy. Like, why would you want people, unless for biological or medical reasons, to know like your history of that? But that's really too much. I think it's way too much.
Yeah, but there's one thing for every audience.
Everyone's so excited about this now. Okay, let's go, Nathan first. Go, Nathan.
Go ahead, Nathan, and then we'll close the event.
If you go into looking how Bitcoin originally was, it was, getting money and real world, currency value out of thin air, which is crazy too, because you're literally just using code, ones and zeros, which has zero value originally, and you are creating a currency where you could trade it for like, I don't know how much Bitcoins are now worth, but that is even more crazy, right? You're just creating something of huge worth with something that has zero worth at all, like from the beginning. And how Axie Infinity is paying the people who plays them is essentially the same thing, but it's just in a very much shorter period, and how they are running the whole thing. So I'd say whatever activity that the community is trying to make their community members to engage is not really the main point. Is the fact that you are creating that community, that's the key point. So yeah.
Thank you, Nathan. Any final thoughts? Then I'm gonna close the room.
So I think that's about it for the day.
Thank you, Nathan and Leanne, for hosting. I had a wonderful time. I gotta go.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. See you.
Thanks,
Bye.
TJ, for the humor.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
Muhammad, for the really deep idea.
Thank you all.
Thank you. It is a very interesting discussion from the beginner until very complicated discussion with virtual and with philosophy and all this. Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank
everyone.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Good night. Have a good day, Mohammed.
Thank you so much. So I just leave my email address and we can exchange maybe the possibility to schedule a talk with you, Nathan, maybe with you also, Lion, regarding some potential of making another conference or something, virtual conference.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe over next 2 weeks, because I'm really having a headache on the current NFT project that is going on.
Yeah, Hong Kong is so busy. When I talked to Miguel, he's like, take it easy in Spain, people are on vacation, not Hong Kong.
There's no real vacation in Hong Kong.
Ever. No,
you
draw
can
the line.
literally get COVID and you are
when you want to take vacation in Hong Kong, you draw the line. Yeah, there's no like season of vacation. Yeah.
Yep.
So we're around, we're busy.
Oops. Leanne is having a slight hiccup in her connection, maybe. So yeah, we'll talk later.
All right. Talk soon. All right. Bye.
Okay, see ya. Bye.
Have a great day. So
Thank you.
Thank you, Lion, for this beautiful moment. And